Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Friends podcast. I'm your friend, Emmely, and today's guest is Jamie Yuccas, co-host of CBS LA Mornings and a CBS correspondent. She's an Emmy-winning storyteller with an iconic edgy lob. And today we're talking wild LA car chases, the chaos of reporting live on major breaking events, being a Midwesterner who actually likes Los Angeles, and who she is beyond the camera. Well, hello.
Hi.
We're filming now.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And twinning with me.
I know.
This is very, it wasn't on purpose.
No.
So
No.
that's a good thing. I think
Yes.
we're just shows our
We're
level
aligned.
of connection.
Exactly.
Yeah, right? But yeah, thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited to be doing this. And I already told you earlier, I'm nervous.
And don't be nervous.
But you're like the pro of the pros for this.
Yeah, but I
so.
never get asked questions, so I'm kind of nervous because I don't know what you're going to ask me.
All right.
So we're both nervous.
Let me sit up all nice and put you in the hot seat
Okay.
then, right?
I think I'm ready.
But yeah, actually, you got to interview me
I
last
did.
year.
Yes.
Well, I had the pleasure of being interviewed by you, not the other way around. But that was, you interviewed me last year. I think it was maybe in May or June of last year.
Was it? Is it already that long?
Yeah, it's been almost
Wow.
a year. And we talked about Los Angeles Friends and what I was doing with that. And I got to hang out with you at Elysian Park.
Yes, right?
For your Java with Jamie series.
Yes,
And
which is where you've had your first meetup.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of fun to have you here. And
Well, thank you for having me. This is darling.
Thank you.
I love
it. Thank you so much. I guess we could start off with with your connection to Los Angeles, maybe not get into right away how you got here or why, but for context, you're originally a Midwesterner.
I am from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah. And how long have you been away from home?
Oh, yeah. It's funny. I haven't lived in Minneapolis since 2015.
Okay.
So I moved to New York from Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And then Los Angeles is now the longest I've lived somewhere as an adult.
Okay.
So it's home now.
Yeah. I guess one of our first real questions then, what do you love most about living in LA right now?
Oh, I was talking about this earlier. I just love the diversity and food.
Absolutely.
Like I love food. And so
Same.
to be in Koreatown, having like Korean barbecue or like Little Tokyo and having sushi or ramen, I just love the food.
What's your favorite type of food in LA?
I don't know that I have a favorite. Like today I was in Little Ethiopia and eating Ethiopian food. I mean, it's like you can get anything here,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know
That's
that
so
I have
cool.
a favorite, right?
Yeah.
Like, cause I just love, and it's so different from one
Mhm.
another. I do love it. I went out actually with a couple Midwesterners. We're visiting this weekend and we went, to brunch, and I was laughing because I do think you forget living here. Like there's so much avocado and tomato and like olives and all these fresh things. They were like, oh my gosh, there's like avocado on everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that like that is a California.
Obviously we put avocado on
Exactly.
everything. That's so funny because I feel like I guess I take those kind of things for granted.
I think I'm now
Yeah.
taking it for granted because it was like listening to them and just what they were deciding they wanted to have for brunch was really funny.
That is
actually.
great. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe one of everything. And then everyone could just switch plates every like 10 minutes, which would be nice, right?
Right.
But yeah, I think we're so lucky in the sense that we just have so much diversity and so many
Yes.
different things to try. And
Yes.
I feel like you can go your whole life in LA with every year, still experience something completely brand new.
Totally.
And that's like the beauty of it.
It is.
Aw.
Absolutely.
I love Los Angeles so much. Obviously, we have a whole podcast about LA. Do you have any hot takes of LA? Like you are an Angelino now.
Right,
Right,
it's my
so-
10th. I'm coming up on my 10th year.
Yeah. Is there a
Hot
hot Yeah, what's your hot
takes.
take?
I think it is funny. The longer you live here, the more you kind of end up in that SNL skit of like, I'm taking the 101 to the 405
Yeah.
to the 10 to, like you start naming all the roads and
Yeah.
how you're getting places. So I do notice that. Hot take. I think the people here are either like the nicest people I've ever met or
Mhm.
I don't understand them at all.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, and it's like, because there's so many transplants here,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
So when I find a native Angelino, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're from Like you're from Los
You're like a
Angeles?
unicorn.
Like, and what was it like? You know, I
Yeah.
like hearing their stories about stuff. And I find like native Angelinos to be very friendly. I find that some people who end up here, like they, like they're dreamers, right? Which is cool. Like they came here for something.
Yeah.
But then I feel like they feed into that, like everyone has plastic surgery. Everyone has to be like way too cool,
Yeah.
like whatever. So I don't like the people can be like, it just, my hot take is like, you got to find your people.
You do, yeah. And I think it's weird because so I lived in Georgia for 2 years, and Southern hospitality
Oh
is
yeah,
I knew
so fake.
I knew well, no, but I knew all of my neighbors though,
Oh,
and like
okay.
actually a couple my close neighbors were always so friendly. Like people always talk to you, and then here my neighbors avoid us.
Really?
Like, we're going outside and I see my neighbor like run inside to avoid me. The people to the right of us, I've never even seen them.
Really?
Like, yeah, like it's so
See, that's
weird.
funny though, because I felt that way in the I had a couple like good friends who were in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And kind of like, but like I never met my next door neighbor the entire time I lived in Sherman Oaks. Like I have no idea who was living there.
Yeah.
I don't know what, you know, like I don't know what they did for a living.
Yeah.
I found that there, but where I live now on the west side, I say it's like, it's the greatest neighbor. Like we know all of our neighbors.
That's awesome.
Yesterday, there was a screw in my husband's tire. My neighbor Michael came over and had the air compressor and a patch, and you know helped him.
That's so nice.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like I have like a very neighborhood now.
See, that's nice.
Yeah.
I hope I find.
But I think it's hit or miss.
I guess so. Yeah.
Because we lived in another place before this place, and like no one talked. It was an apartment building, and no one talked to each other.
It's so weird. But when I go and walk the dogs out in the neighborhood and I pass by people, people usually always say hi. But I don't know what it is about my immediate neighbors. And I think I'm a good neighbor. I'm not throwing parties and huge ragers and keeping
you
people.
don't seem like you.
So I'm like, why don't you love us? What's wrong with me? Okay. But yeah, no, thanks for sharing that hot take. Actually, that was a good one. All right. Is there a specific moment when LA shifted from just a place you worked at to somewhere that felt personal and like your real home?
Yeah. Well, when I moved out here, I planned to only be here 2 years. I moved out. I'll get into this, I guess, a little bit. It might be one of your other questions.
Okay.
I don't know. But I was living in New York City, and I had always wanted to live in New York City. And New York City, for me, that was like the dream. I was going to live there forever. I got there, and I went through a divorce. My stepfather passed away, my aunt passed away, my grandma passed away, all within 90 days.
Wow.
As I said, my mom had started spending at least the winters, if not more of the year, in Arizona. I had only visited Los Angeles one time. And and it was my mom's husband, sister, and mother who passed away. Oh. And I had a coworker out here in the LA office who said, "Hey, no one knows, but I'm taking a job in Beijing, China. You should take my job in LA," because he knew what was going on with my family.
Yeah.
And I got on the elevator, went downstairs, and said, I need to take the job in LA. I need to be there for my mom on the West Coast. And my mom would come into town for work a lot here.
Yeah, it's not that far from Arizona.
No.
Yeah.
And she works in military, aerospace, electronic, like whatever. So she'd spend a lot of time here. And so I remember I like got off the phone. I went down to the talent development office and I said, I need to be in LA. And they looked at me like, that'd be great. That kind of solves a problem for us. We didn't know who we were going to put there. And I moved to LA. So I actually I thought I was only going to be here 2 years, and I fully intended to move back to New York City.
Wow.
And after being here for 2 years, it was like, why would I leave this?
That's how I feel about LA.
Yeah.
Why would anyone want to leave?
And I remember coming back because my previous job was like 80% travel.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'd be on planes all the time. And I remember a moment where I was landing back in LA and just seeing, it was kind of that dusk time where all the little lights are like twinkling out, you know? And I went, oh, I think this is home.
Oh,
yeah.
That's such a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Like the whole time I had left out, like, well, because I grew up here. So the whole time I was gone, so about 6 years.
Yeah.
I knew, I was like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to be home.
Yeah.
And it was good for me to leave, but it's also very good for me to come back. Like, I'm so happy here.
You're in the right spot.
Yeah. I tell my boyfriend, like, we're not leaving LA. If I were to leave LA, it'd have to be like San Diego. But
yeah, I could see that.
No way. He would have to drag me out of here. No, he's from San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, you guys are fine then.
Yeah. I'm like,
there's no fight about going back to Chicago or New
no,
York.
no, he teases me and says like, we should move to Nashville because the taxes are lower, income tax. I'm like, F that. Like, I'll pay more in taxes to live here. Sorry, guy. Like,
there's a reason we pay,
you know,
right?
exactly. Like, yeah. Well, then he says that's his argument. Like, okay, then we should move to the West Side because it's cooler then. Like, if I'm going to pay a lot in taxes,
there you go.
I don't want to be hot in the Valley. And I'm like, but I want to be hot in the Valley. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see where we end up. Okay. So I guess going into the start of your internship, what was that like? Like, just like, how did you get your internship? Where did you even get started? Can you just give us a little?
So I was going to the University of Minnesota and I knew I wanted to be a journalist. Like when I was a kid, I would carry around like a tape recorder and I would interview people in my family or neighbors.
You always knew that this was the job for you.
I just thought I was going to be a newspaper reporter.
Okay.
So when I got to the University of Minnesota, they had one of the largest college papers in the country in terms of circulation. And so I set my sights on, I'm going to go work for the Minnesota Daily. So I was, at the time, I was like one of a handful of freshmen to ever get hired at the Daily.
Wow.
And I was super excited because we had a newspaper in high school called The Harbinger. And so I was able to bring clips in.
Yeah.
And I had a great teacher in high school, Miss Caruso, who was amazing. You always have that one teacher, right?
Yeah.
That like changes your life. That was Miss Caruso. So she helped me put my my little binder together with my clips and stuff. And I took it in. I got hired. And then I was like very happy. I was like on my track to be a newspaper reporter. And I had a college professor, Ken Stone, another teacher who changed my life. And he had always worked in TV.
Okay.
Journalism.
Yeah.
And he was like, Jamie, you need to take a television internship. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I think it's all just like pretty people. I don't want to wear makeup. I don't want to like get, like I'm very happy on my newspaper track. And he was like, Jamie, digital is going to come in. Like you need to take a television internship. Well, I had waited so long that the only internship available that was left for the semester I needed was an internship in the weather department of the CBS station in town.
Okay.
And so I applied for it because I'm like, well, whatever. I wasn't going to do this anyway. Like I wasn't going to like TV.
Fair.
And the first day of my internship was 9/11.
Oh.
And so that was like a really big,
that's crazy.
And I remember the guy in charge of my internship called and said, you don't need to come in today. If you want to come in, you can, and I was very conflicted on kind of what to do. I went in for a little bit and saw just how crazy even the local station was. And then went home and just like everyone watched hours upon hours of news coverage. And it really then clicked with me of like, oh, this job's actually a lot harder than I've given it credit for. Like you have to put pictures to the words.
Yeah.
Like this is actually kind of cool. So maybe I'll like this. So I did the weather internship, which then turned into a part-time job of producer's assistant.
Okay.
And I did that overnights while I was still going to school. They had just at the time launched a morning show because this is like 20 plus years ago. And I really started liking it. And then I started picking up some shifts on weekends. And I ended up, there was a woman who still works at CNN named Randy Kay, who kind of took me under her wing. And she showed me how to like edit and do different stuff. And so I started building a tape. But I really wanted to be a producer.
Oh, yeah.
I did not want to be on television.
You didn't want to be on camera. No.
No, I didn't want the makeup. I didn't want the hair. Everybody like, like I don't dress like this normally. Like I came from work today, but she kept pushing me a little bit. So I made a resume tape. The station actually had me try out for like a feature job, which I was not good enough to do at all. But I was glad to get the material for the resume tape. And I started sending them out. And there was a producer job open in Rochester, Minnesota. I sent to anything that had producer, reporter, whatever.
Yeah.
And in Rochester, Minnesota, my grandparents lived there. And my grandfather had just passed away. And they offered me the job. And I was like, well, I have to go be near my grandmother.
Your grandma,
So I took that job. And it was a producer anchor position. So I produced my show that I anchored.
Oh my God.
And then I ended up on TV. And the consultants would come to town because you have to meet with consultants, especially when you're starting out. And they would come to town and be like, wow, you're just so relaxed. Because like a lot of people, you know, they try to be very anchory. And I would just kind of be me, you know, and they're like, oh, it's so great. Like, who taught you to be this relaxed? And I was like, I just think it's because I never wanted to be on TV.
You're like, I didn't even want this. Okay, first of all. So, okay, I want to go back to the first day of your internship. Yeah. Did that not scare you off? Or
no, I like to run toward danger. Okay. I'm that person.
Yeah. How chaotic was it in
I just remember people. Well, I mean, this is back when like stuff was still tape to tape edit, right? Like, so there would be people, you know, the editors were trying to slam together, you know, stuff. And there were discussions in the newsroom about, you know, and there ended up being lots of discussion later in the newsroom about, you know, how much longer do we have the planes? Yeah. The visual of the plane going into the building. You know, but they're throwing tapes, you know, to try to get it in at the last second. Insane. Something would get jammed. I mean, it's like, it was crazy.
Well, I'm glad that it didn't scare you off.
No, it was fun.
And that you know, you learned something and now you're here and you're doing some quite amazing things. So, okay. So then you got the job as the
producer
anchor.
And then I'd have to report during the week and I would have to shoot my own stuff. I mean, I did everything in the building.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Dang. Yeah. Why is it that they had you doing it all yourself? Like they just didn't have a team for it?
That's how it is in small market. So the way television works is that like you start off in a small market, which the market numbers that you hear are usually based on population. So like New York is the number one market because of the population size of the viewing area. Okay. Right? So Rochester, Minnesota was market 153 at the time out of 210 markets. Oh. So it was a small.
You're pretty down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I got hired in Fort Myers, Florida, which when I started there was like market 72, but grew to like 60s because the population exploded there. Wow. And then I went back to Minneapolis for 4 years and then went to New York.
Okay. So you jumped around quite a lot. All right. Okay.
And that's very typical of someone in local news. Like
to jump around.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some of us who did network like as a network correspondent. There's some that go the local route like I did. And then there's other people who like get an internship in college in the network and then can kind of work their way up through the network.
Okay.
So there's two different kind of tracks.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And then you said at first you hated being on the camera end.
I still don't like, what? To be honest, like I'm like I said, if you saw me on the weekend or if you watch my Instagram or what, like I'm in jeans and a t-shirt. Yeah. Maybe I have mascara on. Okay. Like I'm so lucky that they've let me have my haircut.
Oh yeah. Don't worry. We're going to talk about your hair. We have a whole
But like this, I mean, this type of haircut and stuff was not anything you could do 20 some years ago. So like, I'm lucky that the business has changed enough that I can be a little bit me.
Yeah.
But it used to be very, you know, like I mean, like, look what I'm wearing. I don't.
Yeah, but you look so like chic and
I threw my Birkenstocks on for your. For this, but I like normally I'm in heels. Yeah, you know. Oh, like, so I hate heel. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think part of you wants to go back to just producing?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know because like the world now is all visual. Like you're even doing a podcast and we're sitting here being visual, right? Yeah. Like I could just see myself doing something more relaxed.
Okay.
Like I could see moving into a podcasting space or something maybe like a little bit more chill where.
Do you think you get like the more chill stuff out of your Java with Jamie?
I do. Yeah? I love the job. I love doing Java with Jamie. I love interviewing people. So my favorite part of my job is interviewing people because I get to meet really cool people.
Yeah.
You know?
You think I'm cool?
Whether it's you, yes, whether it's you or like earlier today I interviewed Mindy Kaling. You know, it's like
super cool.
And that's also what I love about LA is like you have just like such a wide variety of humans here.
Absolutely. You know? And I think that's like something that we want to do with this podcast is just show that there are some truly wonderful human beings here and that we're not all like, you know, influencers or whatever and
or getting plastic surgery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. If I need it one day, you let me know. But what were some of the first major stories you covered and which ones really stuck with you?
So when I first started, this woman is still missing, Jody Husentrut.
Mhm.
And I remember in Rochester, and she was in that market as well.
Oh, okay.
And she had been missing for probably at that point, like 20 plus years or so. And I remember they thought that they had found human remains. And that was like, I
Oh,
got called out. I had to go to this field. And that was one of the first like big stories that I covered.
yeah.
And then in Fort Myers, I had some really good contacts within the sheriff's department.
Mhm.
And so I broke a lot of stories on murder suspects
Oh,
and
whoa. Okay.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then in Minneapolis, so in Minneapolis, I did Minnesotans to Meet, which is kind of what Java with Jamie is like
Cute.
after,
Yeah.
because I was a morning anchor there as
Uh-huh.
well. And then when I got to the network, I mean, I covered so much. I covered like the Pope attending the UN. I covered Kim Davis, the woman who was denying
Mhm.
marriage licenses to gay couples in Kentucky. That was like right off the bat.
Wow.
I remember those two, but I did like the Pulse nightclub shooting is probably the one that
Okay.
sticks out to me the
Yeah.
most.
And for these, were you in the newsroom or on the field?
In the
covering
field.
them?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All these were in the field. So, yeah, I mean, mass shootings always stick with you. And I got really burnt out going to mass shooting scenes. We had it when I was at the network, 100% of the time. I did a lot of natural disasters. So
Mhm.
hurricanes, wildfires,
Yeah.
those burn you out too, because it's people losing everything,
Right. Yeah.
So those always, I think the ones where people are impacted in awful ways just tend to stick with you
Yeah, because
longer.
you're there. I'm sure, like, if you're in person on the field and you're seeing these things firsthand and how they're affecting people and
Mhm.
not just on TV, like, that must
Yes.
just hit
Yeah.
a very different way than it does us seeing it on,
Yeah.
our phones or on TV, however it may be. But yeah, wow.
Yeah.
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 Wow. How do you, like, with those kind of stories that you cover, when you come home, like, how do you separate yourself from
So
that?
I used to be really bad. I compartmentalized a lot.
Mhm.
And so I would just kind of disassociate.
Yeah.
And then I tell every journalist now who comes to me for mentorship, like they'll say, "What's your number one piece of advice?" And I always say, "Get a therapist."
Yeah.
So I basically had to
Yeah.
learn how to feel again,
Yeah.
So I've been doing therapy for about a decade now, and now I'm getting my master's in psychology.
Amazing. Okay.
So now I have the tools
Yeah.
to, self-care was not something that was ever part of my vocabulary when I
Mhm.
first started. Because this job too, you just run, 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 run,
Yeah.
run.
You're on the go, on to the next story covering.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I think I've gotten much better about like allowing myself to feel, doing good self-care work. Like I really enjoy working out. I love being in the sunshine. It's part of why I love
Yeah.
LA. Making sure I'm getting out into nature, spending time with
Mhm.
my dog.
Yeah.
That's,
And just taking care of you.
mhm.
I think also as, like, someone who consumes media, and I think a lot of people probably relate to this, where we're seeing all these things happening every single day. There's something,
Yep.
breaking news. And I think for a lot of people, it is hard to um, take care of their mental health when
Yes.
they're consuming all of this media. And I tell people, like, delete the app if you have
Yeah.
to. And
Yep.
we're
I tell
very,
my mom to turn the
yeah,
TV off all the time because she'll
yeah,
call me all, buzzed up
frantic.
about
Yeah.
something or like, did you see the? And I'm like, turn off the TV, like go for a walk outside.
Yeah. And I also want to recognize that, like, that's a privilege that we have,
Mhm.
that we could just put our phones down and
Yeah.
ignore
Yeah.
whatever's happening in the world. But it's scary, especially with how fast media is now.
I just don't think humans were set up to consume as much as we are.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Agreed.
Um, super cool thing that
Mm.
has happened to you, that
Mhm.
you've been recognized for all of the hard work that you've done. And you are the recipient of not just one, but two Emmys, right?
I actually have a third. So
Oh,
I have two local Emmys and I have a national Emmy, but
okay. I
I've
didn't know there
never,
was a difference.
there is.
Okay.
So the local markets, there's like it's regional, I guess. So I have like two Midwest Emmys
Okay.
and then I have a network, national Emmy.
So cool.
Yes.
When did you get those?
Um, so I got the two regional ones for work in Minneapolis, which one was a flood and I think one was a hurricane. And then the national one I think was part of a mass shooting.
Okay.
But so the funny thing about me is like the awards thing to me is like so like cringy. It's kind of like me not wanting to be on TV. It's like I don't really want to like so I've never bought my national one, which my husband's always on me that I should, because you have to purchase them.
Yeah.
Like there's one that's given and then
give them to you.
they don't just I don't think people know that sometimes.
Oh,
like,
okay. Yeah.
So the regional ones they do give one to the team. So it was me and a photographer. So I bought the photographer one and I kept mine.
That's sweet.
But I've never bought the national one. And my husband's always on me. I should do it, but I don't really care. And then my two regional Emmys sit on my toilet in my house.
I was about to ask where you have them. On the toilet sounds like a good.
So they're on the back of the toilet. Well, I read that Julia Louis-Dreyfus does this. She leaves them in her bathroom so that when people come over, they usually want to like hold them or touch them, but they won't do it if they're like on a shelf or something.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's really smart. So now people, I believe, can go into the restroom and if they want to shoot like a selfie or themselves in the mirror with it, then they can do whatever because obviously it's on the toilet. So I don't care. You can pick it up and do whatever you want with it.
That's great.
Because other people feel cool.
Yeah.
Feel like it's cool.
You can use it as like a door stopper, whatever it may be, whatever your heart's content is. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know you said that it was like cringy, but
I don't know. Like I'm weird about like, I've always been this way too.
Do you not like when people compliment you?
I hate, oh my gosh. So that's funny. Taking these classes now in psychology, I had to do an interpersonal worksheet. And then it said, ask like 3 people, close family, friend, coworker, whatever. And so one night at dinner, I came downstairs and I said, hey, I'm going to fill this out while we're having dinner. And my stepson and my husband, it was like, how well do I take a compliment? My stepson's like 0, put 0. Like I'm not. You. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's something I should work on.
You got to New York. Were you expecting to stay in New York, but didn't get to stay in there? Like you started traveling. I kind of want to hear about that part.
I hear you on that.
Sorry if I worded that.
No, that's okay. I'm following.
Okay.
I'm tracking.
My bad.
I was really lucky that I randomly had a group of friends in New York that I met, like randomly met. It's such a weird story looking back on it. So my ex-husband and I were shopping at H&M, I think it was, like in Columbus Circle. And there were these 2 women ahead of us in line to pay. And he says the one woman's name and she turns around and I was like, oh. And they worked together. It was this random, right? So they start talking, and there was another woman there, Natalie, that she and I started talking, and Natalie ended up becoming like one of my best friends in New York. And this is like my 3rd day in New York.
Yeah.
She had a little running group. So the Saturdays that I was in town, we would have coffee and bagels and we would run, and then we would go have like a croissant or cookie or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a little group of us. So I got really lucky that when I was in New York, that group of people opened up like their New York to me, which I don't think I would have gotten to experience if I was just around news people.
Yeah.
Because it's like you kind of stick in your little neighborhood or whatever.
And in your circle.
Yeah.
So you found community.
I did.
Pretty quickly, which is great.
Yeah. And unusual, I think, that it was people out. And I was so happy to have people outside of work because
I'm sure
I was working a lot. That job when I got there. So I was hired in a really interesting kind of hybrid position at the time. So I came in and it was called Newspath, and it was basically a correspondent that would fly to whatever the big stories were. And then, but fill the local TV, the CBS owned and operated stations. I'd file stories for those stations. So here in LA, San Francisco, Minneapolis, Chicago, New York. And at the same time, they had just started, which at the time was called CBSN. Now it's I think 24/7. It's changed names a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's our digital channel.
Okay.
And so with my anchoring experience, they would have me fill in anchor on the digital side of things.
Oh.
And then I also started filing reports for CBS Morning. And then they moved my schedule. I was from Monday through Friday to Sunday through Thursday. So then on Sundays, I could do CBS Evening News Weekend.
Okay.
So I was like all over the place.
Oh, man.
So the good thing was when I have like a week anchoring digital, I knew I was going to be in at a certain time and out at a certain time. And I made sure that I really enjoyed New York City those weeks.
Yeah.
Because the other times I was like on a plane,
Out and about.
and flying somewhere.
Did you like staying local, or did you enjoy getting to travel and leaving the city?
I mean, I really enjoyed both. When I really made the most of those. It was just 2 years, which I can't believe. Like I did get to go back quite a bit over my time here. I would fill an anchor on CBS Morning. So it was like every season I got like another week in New York. So I do feel like I still have a connection to the city in some ways.
Yeah. But how old were you when you lived in New York?
I was 30. I think I was 33, 34.
Wow. That's like such a fun, I'm sure like such a fun age where you're already like an adult.
Well, I didn't have, it was like, I wasn't broke living with 6 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That
Fair.
was, but getting divorced in New York City isn't financially the best thing to do.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure that's rough.
it is what it is.
Well, at least we got you out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're in LA where
Exactly.
you truly belong,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
What was it like to be in the middle of all of the events that were happening around you while you were living in New York and going out on all these jobs? And
I got to cover the 2016 Olympics in Rio, which was pretty cool.
whoa, okay.
So again, it was a lot of highs and lows, I think. But I also covered the Pulse nightclub shooting, which I mentioned before, which is still one of the stories that impacts me, I think. You know, and I also, I'm trying to think that I mean, there was so much. I would travel to Houston. I went to Hurricane Harvey. I guess I was out here.
Oh, wow.
Some of them all blend together.
I'm sure because you've done, if you counted how many things have you
like
probably
where I
reported on.
went and how I got there. And it was, I was in, this is always an interesting story. The night that President Trump was elected, I was actually in the ballroom that he came out.
The first time he was elected?
Yes, in 2016. So that was a big New York story. And it was so weird because I remember like being there where the news coverage started switching. Like all of my colleagues who were over at Javits Center for Hillary Clinton, because everyone thought Hillary was going to win at that point in time. All the polls showed that. So it was like all my colleagues were going first, doing their hits. And then all of a sudden, like halfway through, it was like, no, we're coming to you first. And I was like, oh, this is like, this is happening. And I remember he and his family, after he was declared the winner, walked out. And they almost seemed a little stunned. If you look at some of the video and the pictures that he won at that point in time. And then I remember leaving that hotel, going down the stairs and walking out. And like, it was so late in the night. Yeah. It was like quiet in New York City walking home.
I'm sure people were pretty upset.
It was an interesting experience. It was like walking through Midtown Manhattan. It was very like, wow, this is very quiet.
And it normally wasn't like that.
No.
Okay. So everyone was like inside watching.
I'm
the
assuming.
news. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you reported on any other like big elections like that?
Yes. Maricopa County, Arizona, if you recall, in 2020, they were the last race to be called, which then took Arizona blue, which made Joe Biden president.
Oh yeah. So that was huge that it flipped.
Yes. And it was the one, I don't know if you'll remember or not, but I was sent there. We didn't realize it was going to like be the last place to determine their election. Maricopa County is notorious for having slow results.
Yeah.
But we didn't think it was going to take a week. So
that's right. It took a while.
It took a week.
Yeah.
And it was during COVID and I was having to get tested. CBS was having you tested every 2 days.
Whoa.
And I was in I don't know if you remember, but like outside the election headquarters, they actually ended up having to put up a fence, and all the reporters were in the middle, and all the protesters were standing on the outside. And one of the protesters who was there that I very clearly remember, because he had been yelling at me, was the shaman from the insurrection.
No way.
Yes. And he called me Kate +8 because he hated my haircut.
What an asshole. I love your haircut. That is crazy.
I know.
Oh my God.
It was an experience. And I don't know if you remember,
crazy.
but it's an open carry state in Arizona.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
my mother would call me constantly and be like, could you please get out of the pen surrounded by all these people with guns? Like,
that's so scary.
I just want you to go home. And I'm like, well, they haven't determined the election yet. Like, it's crazy.
Mom, I'm working. Well, you were in New York. You were traveling quite a bit.
Mhm.
Was there a point where you started to feel like tired or burnt out of like how often you were leaving the city?
Well, so that continued. So when I took the job out here in Los Angeles, I was still a national correspondent. I just was based in the LA office. So I did that for 6-7 years, where I was traveling everywhere. And honestly, COVID really burned me out, because as I said, we had testing procedures, through CBS, where you had to get tested every 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to find a FedEx to like ship your nasal sample off to. And it was just a scary time. Like, I'd go into things like I covered George Floyd back in Minneapolis. I covered the Derek Chauvin trial then, a year later. And it was like, we had already learned that we could be vaccinated and still get it. And there was still, so you're sitting in a courtroom, or you're wearing a mask, but it's like, you just didn't know. Like, And I think for me, I would go fill in anchor in New York, where you were getting tested every 48 hours before you'd go into the studio. And there'd be people that would be like, they'd show up to go on TV, get their test, the test result would come back, like you'd get yanked out. And so it was like, what city am I going to get stuck in for 2 weeks? Like if I get COVID,
you get sick.
right?
Yeah.
So I would be like, I don't think I could do this little Manhattan, hotel room for 2 weeks. I'd go crazy. So it was just like that constant fear of not wanting to get sick. And knock on wood, I didn't. Like the whole time I was traveling, I got COVID after I stopped traveling.
You know what? I was living in Atlanta I moved to Atlanta in September of 2020.
Okay.
So actually that summer, right before I moved to Atlanta, I was in San Diego. But when I moved to Atlanta, it was so different than how COVID was treated in California,
But see, that was part of my problem, is that I was traveling all these places that didn't have as restrictive of rules.
Yeah.
So I'm in a population not knowing like who's interacted with who, or how, and everybody's eating out. And so it was like, it was scary, because I didn't want to get stuck.
How do I avoid getting sick? Yeah. If other people don't care.
So, exactly. So it was just like, it was one of those things that I think the stress of that. And then I covered the Olympics in Beijing, China, where you had to get a throat culture every single day.
Oh,
and
ouch.
And it was like being in jail. We couldn't leave to go anywhere but the media center.
Yeah.
It was so awful. And I think it was like after that, like my husband even says now that like I came back a little broken from, I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay. So then when you had that experience, or that feeling of like, you knew you were done and over with that, like what did you do then there to change things and move into a different direction?
It's really interesting. My life, what I tell people when people ask me for advice, especially when they're starting the business, as I say, just be open to everything.
Yeah.
Like you might think, like I thought I was going to go to New York and that's where I was going to be the rest of my life. And that's not the case.
Right.
And I'm very happy with that happened. At the time, it seemed awful, like, oh, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But I have found that like the universe, God, however you want to, quantify it. I don't know how
both sound right. I'm going to trust either way, whatever you say.
I think it's one of those things that I just believe that things will kind of work themselves out. I've had enough life experience now that it just kind of does. So I came back from Beijing and I was really burned out. And I happened to get asked at the time, there was a president of CBS Network and a president of CBS Stations, the owned and operated stations.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And so they were co-presidents of these two entities. and talk to each other pretty regularly. But I happen to know the co-president, Wendy, in charge of the station group really well. She had spent time in Minneapolis. We had mutual friends. And she asked me to go with her to Denver, Colorado, to do, I did a fireside chat with her at a streaming conference where she wanted me to be the one interviewing her in front of this big group of people.
Gotcha.
So we traveled together, met up there. And she said, how's it going at the network? And I was like, I am so burned out.
You're like, now that you asked me, let me tell you the truth.
And like nobody, like if it had been the other news president, I don't know that I would have been that vulnerable. Like, I would have probably been like, it's great. It's fine. Everything's fine. But because we had this relationship, I was very vulnerable with her and just said, I'm really starting to get burned out. I'm, like I really want to sleep in my own bed more than 20% of the time. And she was like, well, what are you thinking about doing? And I had some other ideas I threw at her, and she was like, no. Like, let me get back to you. She said, give me 2 weeks.
Were you thinking of leaving? Like,
yeah, I was just going to leave.
Done.
I was like, I'm done. She called me exactly 2 weeks later and said, this took me some time to kind of work through. But what would you think about continuing to shoot stories for the network? In LA, every once in a while traveling, but when you want to. And then I'm starting a local morning show in Los Angeles, and I'd love for you to be one of the anchors. And I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting.
You're like, oh.
So I can sleep in my own bed as much as I want, because you're telling me the travel is up to me. I can still do pieces for national news, which like scratches an itch. I can anchor my own show. That's pretty cool.
I know. Are you a morning person?
I am a morning person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're up and going.
Yeah. So it's like all worked out. And then the funny thing is that I always look back. This is another, like, you could never make this up. When I'm in Denver, Colorado with Wendy at this thing, we go into the local CBS station there, and I start talking to the general manager, Tim, who we've had all these mutual friends in common over the years. He's helped me out a ton when I've been in Denver for the network, whatever. And we start talking, and he says to me in that conversation, why wouldn't you just do local news? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like,
that's an option.
And, and I was like, well, I don't know. Like, am I really like an LA local news I don't know. Like, he was like, yeah. He's like, I think like maybe think about that. And now the funny thing is, not only did then Wendy and I leave that trip and she offered me the local position, Tim is now my general manager here in Los Angeles.
Oh, no way.
So I'm like, well,
that's awesome.
You got to believe somebody's,
it's like full circle.
Yes.
Just how you ended up. And then now because you're saying he was in Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah. So when you got to LA and you settled in, was LA what you imagined it to be? And I guess, like, what was your first impression of it? Because you said you had just visited only once before.
I had visited one time, and I visited with my ex-husband, and my ex-husband did not like it here.
Okay.
And I think it had kind of clouded my judgment a little bit and how I saw things. I mean, so I remember not knowing much about LA other than what I had seen like in movies and on TV, right? Like the one time I visited, we did the touristy things of like the Santa Monica Pier and like the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which I was like, what is this?
What's
like
the street?
I don't understand. So I think first of all, like my first 2 weeks on the ground here trying to find an apartment, like I had a credit score of like 806. I thought this is going to be super easy.
I want to be like you. I want a credit score of 806. I'm working
I had
on
smart
it.
Parents. They got me a credit card at like 16. And
that's awesome.
But so I thought I'm not going to have any problem finding an apartment. Like this is whatever. And it was so hard to find an apartment.
What the heck?
It was crazy. But my mom and I drove around to all these different neighborhoods. And I remember being like, oh, this is cool. Like it was the first time I'd seen like Echo Park or Silver Lake. And I was
my favorite neighborhood.
Wow, that's And coming from New York, you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like
so different. Yeah. What year was this?
That was 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had moved out out of LA in 2016, actually.
Okay.
I moved to Oregon that summer. Yeah.
So, I bought a convertible.
You went full on LA.
I went full on LA. I've always been a beach person. Like I didn't realize how much I was going to really enjoy like being at the beach here. I am an outdoors person. I think, I had my run group in New York on the weekends, but it was like any day of the week being able to work out outside was pretty amazing. So my first impression was bad when I visited.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I was doing.
Right. Yeah.
And then once I got here and actually like immersed myself, it was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then of course, like, the Valley gets a bad rap for whatever reason. So people would hear like, you went to live in the Valley. And I'm like, I don't have a commute. I'm like the only person in LA who doesn't have a commute because I work at Radford.
Yeah.
So, and I would fly out of Burbank a lot.
Right
so
here,
it was like the only time I had a problem is if I had to fly out of LAX.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things I was like, I don't deal with traffic. Like I love my little neighborhood. It's sunny every day. Like,
and it's, something I think about is like how much people talk so much shit about the Valley. And then I'm like, this is where all the celebrities hang out and all the famous people are like, they're at my local coffee shop. They love the Valley. Like, trust me.
It's because we all like they all work in the Valley.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like everybody works in the Valley. So it's
a ton
like
of studios here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you moved here, you're 2 weeks in, you find a place. Yeah. And then you feel good.
Yeah.
At that point.
What was interesting to me? I was in the middle of grief from so many things. Right. And I found there is something about being in sunshine that can really just improve your mood.
Absolutely. What is your morning routine like?
Oh,
okay. Because you get up pretty early. So yeah.
I do.
Can you walk us through that?
So the first alarm goes off at 3:45.
Oh.
And I hit snooze or I have another alarm set for 4.
Okay. Wait, quick question. Does your husband get up early too?
He actually does. He works for LADWP.
Oh,
so
okay.
he gets up. His first alarm goes off at 4:30.
Oh.
He gets up at 4:40.
Oh, wow.
But so I generally like first alarm goes off 3:45. 4 o'clock, that alarm is like, okay, you got to get out of bed.
Like, or you're going to be late.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I turn the shower on because it takes a minute to heat up. I brush my teeth immediately. Like I can't stand not brushing my teeth. Yeah.
As soon as I get out of bed, I have to use the bathroom and then I have to brush my teeth. Yeah. I don't get how people are like, I'm going to have some coffee and some.
My husband's like that. And I'm always like, ugh.
Yeah. And also don't kiss me until you brush your teeth. That's what I tell my boyfriend. No thanks.
Exactly. I'm trying to think. I take my little supplements. And then through that whole time, we have a group chat at work.
Yeah.
And it's the producers and my co-anchor and a senior producer. And we're basically all like rapid firing like articles we saw or stuff we think that's interesting. So I try to leave myself like 15, 20 minutes at the end of my morning so that like I can drink my coffee and then see what's come in and then respond and send my own ideas of stuff, And
are you guys improvising then the morning of, I guess?
I wouldn't call it improvising. It's more like flagging things that are probably already, out in the ether, but we, and my co-anchor is really great at this too. Like we try to flag things that are of interest to us. So that there's, there's going to be space in the show where there's like a little bit more fun or like talker stories. And so we're primarily trying to flag those types of things so that the producers are like, oh, okay, she's actually interested in this.
These are things you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I get in the car. I should be getting in the car by like 4:45. It's usually closer to 5.
Wow. I'm on like my 4th dream by then. I get up at like 5:30 for work. But that's wow.
And then once I get into work, we immediately at 5:30 we have a meeting to go through the rundowns of the shows. So the producers come in, tell us what's in the shows. If we have guests, they go through questions. We can we'll tell them what questions we want or that we have. And this all happens in our makeup room. So usually my co-anchor goes first. Yeah. I then go second.
Are you doing your own makeup at this time?
No, we have a makeup artist.
Oh.
Which is great. We have to do our own hair, but we have a makeup artist who does our makeup, which is fantastic. And then, we're live on TV by 7 o'clock. And then I'm on air till 10. We have a meeting for the next day at 10:10. And then my co-anchor and I alternate weeks doing the 11 a.m.
Wow.
Or I go out and shoot stories
Like you did today.
like
right?
I did today. So it like every day past 10 a.m. is varied,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, so I, you know, or I can come over and do this.
That's
you
so
know?
fun. Yeah. Again, thanks for being here. Something that we have to talk to you about. Okay. It's serious.
Okay.
Your wonderful hair.
Oh.
That's what we want to talk about. No, I'm serious. I'm so serious. Did you know there's
I'm glad you like it.
I love your hair, first of all. I think we all do. And again, I think it's cool because you mentioned earlier how like 20 years ago, you probably couldn't have the hairstyle that you have, which you have like an undercut, right? You have like your side shaven.
Here,
yeah.
All the way.
I love it.
I'll show you.
It probably feels so good when you just like rub the back of your head.
I love it.
I had an undercut when I was, I think like 19 years old and I loved it. My mom was mad when I did it. I'm like, lady, it's just hair, it grows back.
That's how I feel.
But I mean, it's great that, you know, in today's world, you could rock a really cool haircut, you know, and but did you know there's a blog dedicated to your hair?
No.
We found a blog.
Really?
Yes. It's titled
oh my goodness.
Jamie's bold new haircut. A style transformation to inspire your next look.
Really?
Yeah. And I read through it. It's pretty long.
Really?
You didn't know?
No.
So it's not you behind the blog.
No, goodness, no. No, actually, you know, what's funny is a producer recently told a bunch of us that like there's some feet blog or something out there where they like rate people's feet. And then
you're showing yours
I know.
Today.
Oh,
thanks.
gosh,
Maybe we'll get some views off of it.
I know.
Jamie's feet on the Los Angeles Friends podcast.
When I worked in Minneapolis, there was a guy who would and he would do it around the country. But when I worked in Minneapolis, I wore a lot of like knee-high boots.
Okay.
Because of winter,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And he has a booted newswomen blog.
That is so weird.
So like I'm not like it's weird, but it's like not surprising
because that feels like a fetish.
Yeah.
I don't think your hair is people admiring.
So the funny thing about my hair is that my next door neighbor actually did the undercut during COVID.
Oh,
and I never went back.
And you just stuck with it?
I just stuck with it. And
now, my God.
I'm kind of getting to the point now that I'm like, I've had it. I mean, COVID was 6 years ago. I'm like, should I be changing? I know, but I like, I do like it so much. That I'm like, oh.
I wanted to read you a quote from the blog.
Oh, Lord.
This is so funny. I love this. I'm going to start another blog dedicated to your feet next. Your feet and your hair. Okay, so this one says, but amidst all this professional excitement, Yucca has found the time to switch up her hairstyle once again, causing quite a stir amongst her viewers and fans. So I guess there was some
controversy.
Yeah, I guess about your hair.
Yeah.
Whatever, we love it.
Well, the funny thing is there was a different news president at the time. She goes by Z, and she's like amazing. You can read about her.
Yeah.
She's had a very storied history at CBS for decades. And she was news president, and I did this, and I thought she was going to be really mad, and she was like, "No, it's cool." And I was like, "Really?" And then one day I had my hair behind my ear in an interview, and I was talking, and I have pierces.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was like, I thought she was going to be again. She called all of a sudden on my phone. It says Z, and I'm like, "Oh no!" And I answered, and she's like, "Is your ear pierced like at the top?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "So cool." And I was like, "Really?"
That's
like,
what she called you?
Yeah. Well, and she was
that.
like, "And I just want you to know, like, I want you to be you."
Oh,
and I was
great.
like, "Awesome!" Like,
that's amazing.
Because I, for years, I mean, like when I tell you, I had a boss in Florida who made me cut my hair really short, like in a pixie. They had me in that station. The consultant came to town and had me dye my hair kind of a reddish color because we had so many blondes at the station. So, and I mean, through the year, I mean, you
probably look awesome with red hair, but
it was not my favorite. But I mean, I've had bosses asked if I've like gained weight or have you lost weight? Like, are you stressed out because you look thin?
What the heck?
It used to be commonplace that they could comment on anything about your appearance on TV.
Mostly men making these comments, or you feel like women are
it was men and women.
Yeah.
I had a woman. I had a female agent. I will not name. Who said that she'd like to take me on as a client, but I needed to grow out my hair because I looked too much like a lesbian, and a lesbian wouldn't get hired in another market. And this is like 20 years ago. But that was. that was something that was just
That
like
is
openly said. And I was like, I
crazy.
don't think you're the agent for me.
Yeah, no.
So,
That's wild.
yeah. So, I mean, like men and women for
Yeah.
years, it does not happen anymore. Occasionally, like I have heard, I've heard it happen occasionally
Mhm.
in the last few years, but for the most part, I think there's such a push,
Mhm.
with podcasting and social to find authentic people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think doing
Yeah.
the whole, like perfect look is not.
Yeah.
And then I got a tattoo
That's
during.
so pretty.
Thank
Is that
you.
a poppy?
It's a California poppy.
Oh, look
Did
at
you know that our
Look-
August birth flower is a poppy?
I did not.
Well, now you do.
I love it. So pretty. It looks so cute.
I did a job with Jamie on the tattoo artist.
That did your tattoo?
I just went in to do the job with Jamie, and
then you got a
getting
tattoo? Oh my God, that's so
my
cool.
first one. But it's one of those things that, again, I was like, oh my gosh, I got
What
it
are they
here.
gonna
Like,
say?
what are they gonna
Yeah.
say? And everybody's been like, that's so cool.
Oh my God, that's
So
amazing.
times have changed.
Great.
Yes.
Good. As they
Yes.
should,
Yes.
Well, thanks for letting me tell you about the blog.
That is really funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send you the link.
You will. Yes.
Okay, so now we're gonna get into news in LA.
Okay.
And something that I thought would be really fun to talk about are LA car chases.
Oh, yes.
Because they are notorious here.
They
and
are.
You must cover quite a few of them.
Yeah, it's funny. Morning doesn't cover, I think, as many as Nightside does, just because
They happen more at night.
But like
maybe.
some of the really memorable ones happen in the morning. Like the most recent, there was the moving van recently. And then when I do the 11 a.m., occasionally there's a good afternoon, car chase that happens.
Why do you think there are so many car chases in LA?
Well, first of all, they're allowed here. Like I've worked in other states where officers aren't allowed to chase. Like there's
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's a thing. B, we've got huge freeway systems.
Fair. Yeah.
You've got people committing crimes and or mentally ill or going through some type of crisis. And they're fascinating to watch.
I feel like there's like some weird thing though that people in LA kind of cheer on suspects.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is like I will tell you, the first time that I was in the bureau as a national correspondent and a car chase came on, I was shocked that the entire bureau got up from their seat and they're all like watching. And and it's like, oh, what's he gonna do next? And I was like, is this like this is a thing? Like even you guys in the newsroom do this?
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, like
I like, why do you think that is? Like, why do you think they cheer them on?
I think, well, I don't know if we're cheering them on. I think we're just like, we're the curious ones being like, what's happening? Where are they going next? What are they going to do? And we've seen a lot of like bad actors. So like, what could they throw at the police next kind of thing? But I think the people cheering him on, I think there is that like idea in life that like with underdogs, right? Like the underdog never wins, kind of thing. I think we kind of look at them as the underdog in a weird way. Like,
do you think that these suspects are being performative in any way? Like,
I think it depends on the circumstances. Unfortunately we have witnessed a lot of like really mentally ill people clearly having some type of mental health crisis that, that's a lot of them in the morning. Like we've heard about like domestic cases where, a woman will steal the husband's car because she found out he was cheating. And then all of a sudden, like that kind of thing. So those, not so much. I think they're really in crisis. But there are some that I think, there's a percentage of them that, like, I think there was one that ended at the Santa Monica Pier where he, ran out onto the pier and stuff. Like, there's a percentage that definitely are.
Do it for, just to get I mean, it's like,
it's like if you're going to commit the crime anyway.
Yeah. How has social media changed the way that you report or verify stories?
I try to keep my social pretty personal. I mean, we have like a CBS LA account.
Yeah.
So that, I would say the reporting's changed in the sense that like I went to the Dodger parade this last season after they won the World Series. And like I only did video clips from the parade to social, right?
Okay.
So it's changed in that sense that like sometimes we're reporting for the social platform, not necessarily for linear TV, and
Okay.
because that's people get they
Yeah.
consume things everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Confirming things. So we have an assignment desk, and obviously beat reporters and, people that tap into their sources.
Yeah.
So the only way social kind of, has changed things is, like I said, if like a police department or sheriff's office or state attorney's office or whatever posts a statement about something
Yeah.
or reports something themselves on their account.
Yeah.
But we're still going to call and verify like, hey,
Right.
the account wasn't hijacked by somebody, right? Like this is an actual thing.
Because one thing I was thinking about before, or while we were like storyboarding for our interview is that I consume my news online. And I think a lot of people my age probably do that.
Yeah, they do.
And it's just so crazy how fast misinformation can spread. And one thing that I think about was the Bad Bunny Super Bowl. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but while Bad Bunny handed his Grammy to a little boy, and the internet took that really quickly and said that it was Liam, the little boy who was
from Minnesota,
right,
by ice. Yeah.
And I was like, that's definitely not him. And I go online, and it had just happened, like within like that same minute, and immediately Google AI is saying, yeah, that's Liam Ramos, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's not him. That doesn't even look like him.
Yeah.
But AI is taking all of these wrong, sources and making it sound like truth. And then people who don't really like look past that or like go and dig and do their own research or like critical thinking, they're going to see that Google AI spit out wrong information and then run with it. And it's just so crazy. So
it's very concerning.
Yeah.
I think that's like we at CBS have a verified team. So we have people on staff that are looking at images too, specifically to make sure they haven't been doctored by AI. Because that's another concern in broadcast, right? Is that like images can spread very quickly. So you're right. I mean, it's something we talk about a lot. And that's why, I mean, I'm always pushing that people like go to reputable news sources.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know we not only have lawyers on staff to look over scripts, but we have a standards department. So every time I had a national story, it would go through standards, which standards determines like what language we use, how we present things. And they'll also look to make sure we're not going to get sued as well over something. But they're now having to look for, verified misinformation and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of ways that like legacy news organizations are trying to make sure things are verified. But it's really concerning to me that now anybody can call themselves a journalist. Like I'm somebody who really I believe two things can be true at the same time. I believe that, like I can hear one viewpoint and I can hear the counter viewpoint and I can validate both.
Yeah.
And, I believe that, you might have one story, I might have one story. The truth could be in the middle.
Right.
There are all these things like as a journalist that you uphold that now that anybody who can call themselves a journalist, it does bother me. Like all these influencers and people. I have a friend who works within the FBI, and he said he was at the Nancy Guthrie case and said that the influencers became a real problem because they would they would walk around and find a glove in a ravine and then start, going on social being like, hey, we found this glove and it matches the glove from, blah, blah, blah.
Why would you do that?
And the FBI, then all the legacy media is inundating the FBI going, is this the glove of the guy? And they're like, no, like it's some restaurant worker's glove.
That is so crazy.
But it's making everybody's job harder.
Yeah. I've seen like also like influencers get invited onto red carpets and interview people and
because they have huge followings
sometimes. And so they're trying, the network's trying to like bring in more viewers, right? So I understand that, but then like there's some interviews that I see and I'm like, oh, that's so cringy, or like you can tell that the person being interviewed like is annoyed or just like, what kind of questions are these? So
that's like before a red carpet, I will tell you, like I covered the Met Gala in New York.
Oh, so
very
cool.
New York.
Yeah,
thing,
very
right?
New York thing. Yeah.
But I can tell you that for like 10 days prior to the Met Gala, a producer and I we went through like every single person who was going to potentially be on that red carpet and any potential surprises, and had to know backgrounds and, you know, what their most recent project was and why Anna Wintour would invite them. You know? So it's like there's actual research that goes into a lot of these things that you can't just show up and
just start asking random questions. Yeah. And I think, and you're so right. Like people should be doing that research.
Yeah.
Actually, this is not something I was going to bring up, or, you know, a little off tangent, sorry, but I was thinking of going back to school and doing like a post-batch in journalism, and just to learn, not that I want to be a journalist, but I have a podcast and I want to learn how to become a better interviewer and just like learn the foundations of it. And I think it could be fun, and I love to learn, and I miss being in a school setting. So
I'm all about going back to school. I'm getting my master's right now in psychology. So
what made you want to go back to school?
Well, you know, like when I talk about coming to LA, I mean, my mental health wasn't great, and I had never done therapy before. And this is LA is a place that therapy is very much embraced.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
So I started seeing a therapist 10 years ago, and it changed my life. And I just, I think you know, when we talk about interpersonal skills, interviewing skills, I think it will make me a better interviewer. Because you understand kind of, you know, people's communication styles, or, you know, what might make them tick, what can trigger them, you know, all that kind of stuff. So there's that piece of it. And I really, I think as a society, watching how divisive we are, I'm really trying to better understand like where we're at and how to make it better. So if there's like a way psychologically to do that, or, you know, with support groups and that kind of thing. I also, becoming a step parent has been like one of the most challenging jobs, I guess, that or roles that I've taken. And I see a really big gap for step parents. It's, you know, like there's, especially stepmoms get like a really bad.
We had talked about that actually when you had interviewed me.
Yeah. And it's, so I kind of am like, I see a space where I'd like to help other step parents, because you are in this child's life and you want to do the best that you can. And I think there are ways to show up, you know, there are many ways to show up, but I like, as a journalist, I got really frustrated trying to find resources for step parents, and just finding basically blogs of people complaining about being a step parent, or complaining about the other household, or complaining. And it's like, none of that's helpful to me.
No, not at all.
I think all the roles that, you know, like I grew up I had a difficult childhood, you know, being divorced, my job as a journalist, and now being a step parent, I think has all kind of led me to just want to know more. And and that's, I'm finding it like I'm a student, you know, like
so cool.
I love being a student. I love learning things. I'm a super curious person. I don't think I ever thought I'd go back to get my master's, but there's something kind of like, I'm excited to, you know,
that's super cool.
Check that box.
And it's admirable, you know?
Oh,
that's awesome. That's so awesome.
It's a lot of work.
I think I'd be a better student now.
Totally.
Than I was when I was like 22 years old.
Yes. You know why? Because you have life experience now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little dummy
in
college.
We all are.
I was having a lot of fun. I was getting good grades. Okay. I got my degree. We got that done. But I started looking into a program that they have at UCLA, and I don't know, maybe I'll do it.
Let me know.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We do this thing, one of our final segments called This or That. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, rapid fire style though. So you answer them, and I usually tell the guests not to expand, but if you really want to, you can expand. I'm not too strict on that. Okay. You ready?
Yep.
Teleprompter or improv on air?
Improv on air.
Dodgers games or Kings games?
Oh, Dodger games.
Beach day or a hike with your dog?
Well, I usually take the dog to the beach.
So
both.
Yeah. A hike down to the beach.
Exactly.
There we go. Okay.
Exactly.
Calm coverage or chaotic breaking news?
Chaotic breaking news.
See, I already knew you were going to say that. Interview a high profile celebrity or highlight an unknown story?
Highlight an unknown story.
The Minnesota shrimp hot dog or an LA bacon wrapped hot dog?
LA bacon wrapped hot dog.
Did you know
I didn't even know about the Minnesota. It's a shrimp dog?
Yeah, but the shrimps are poached. They're not even like grilled shrimp.
Okay.
Doesn't
I've
look
never
good.
heard that before.
Not gonna lie, doesn't look good.
Also,
doesn't look good on you guys.
The funny thing about the bacon wrap hot dog, I'm obsessed.
So freaking
Obsessed.
good.
No,
So
but my
good.
stepson knows if we go to a concert, a sporting event, what he's always like, Jamie, they got your hot dogs.
They get your hot dogs,
Yeah.
and you're gonna get one or
Yep.
two after.
Yep.
Okay, so your LA faves. Favorite Korean food in LA?
Dansang Sala.
It's in K-Town?
It's in K-Town.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to order there?
Dansang Sa Pucha?
I'll put it on the scrn.
Okay.
Because I don't know how to pronounce it.
I'll send this to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so what was so fun about it is that they there's a little kind of gas station-y convenience store. It's not a gas station. It's like a little convenience store right next door.
Okay. Yeah.
And everyone, because there's a huge line out front, everyone goes in there and gets like a beer and then stands out in the parking lot. So you're like hanging with everybody. Like,
yeah.
And it was all different age. It was like some young, cool people. It was us old people. Like there was like a lot of, but it was just like fun. Like just the atmosphere was fun. Yeah. And then you go in, the food was incredible. They had the best chicken wings.
Oh.
Like I dream about the chicken wings.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to go. I'm going to make my boyfriend take me maybe this weekend or next weekend.
There you go.
I'm going to let you know how I like it. Your favorite hike versus the most overrated hike?
Oh, I think Griffith Park is overrated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just, it's like, that's just where everybody goes, you know?
Yeah, true.
I think is it Solstice Canyon in Malibu?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been there.
It's
Solstice
really
Canyon.
Pretty. It's like peaceful.
Malibu has some really gorgeous hikes. Yeah. I would agree with you then. Favorite concert venue in LA?
Hollywood Bowl, hands down.
What's the most ridiculous thing in Anchorman that made you laugh as a professional?
I mean, I love the scene when he's like, I love lamp. Like that's but it's not Will Ferrell's character. I also love the fight scene. I love everything about that movie.
Good. Yeah. I'm glad that you didn't see it and we're like, oh.
No. And I had friends who were like that. I was like, come on, it's so
like,
funny.
It's just fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. If viewers could hear your earpiece for 30 seconds, what would shock them the most?
Just maybe how often we do get talked to in our ear.
Yeah. I'm sure it's pretty distracting, but
you learn to like tune it out, but you can't fully tune it out because they're telling you something, right? So I think the hardest for me is when there's a guest in studio and I really want to be, like I want them to feel comfortable because so many people come in, they've never been on TV before, obviously.
Yeah.
So they come in, it's like you want them to be comfortable. You want them to feel like a warmth in the studio and all that kind of stuff. But like somebody's talking in your ear too. Yeah. And so you're like,
shut up. Leave me alone. I'm busy.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you get treated like a local celebrity at all?
No, I did in Minneapolis. I will say, like, because it's a smaller market and people are very into their news people.
Oh,
so that was like my one. Like, I'd go to a restaurant and that they'd send an appetizer. Like, people would want their picture taken. But
how did that feel?
It was weird. I didn't like it. Like, it was
the Leo and you didn't. I did.
I liked the free food.
Yeah, see, that's because you're a foodie.
Because
like
I'm
food.
a foodie.
Yeah.
But no, here in LA, I mean, there's so many actual celebrities that I don't think anybody knows. I mean, every once in a while, I'll have somebody be like, "Are you that girl that does the news?"
You're like, no. Do you lie at all? Do you ever? Are you honest and say
I'm
you are?
Honest,
okay.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, no, don't know her.
Sometimes I'll go, "What channel?" Just to see if they
like, I don't know, just flipping through. All right, so the food is the cool perks. Come on, LA. Jamie needs some free, cool, good food in LA. Okay, so now we like to wrap up with asking our guests if they have a message for LA. Anything that you want to show love to, any one-sided beefs with the city, parking meters, or if you simply just have a message for Los Angeles friends.
Oh, I love LA. I love being here. I feel like this is my year of becoming an official Angelino. Yay. But I kind of want to thank LA for, all it's given me.
Yeah.
It's really been a special place to me. If I had a beef, I don't know that like the LAX traffic situation is ever going to get figured out.
Yeah.
And it's terrible to me. Like, so I've got a beef with whoever designed the whole configuration of LAX.
The trick is that you go upstairs.
I know. I mean, you're not supposed to tell anyone that.
Yeah. But we don't have that many viewers yet. I'm just kidding. One day, I'll have to gatekeep things. Maybe it'll help traffic run a little
there you go.
We got the people mover coming. Yeah.
Let's see.
And then I heard that they approved that line from LAX to the Valley. Right?
Yes.
Which is really cool. Hopefully it goes through.
I have a problem with mass transit in this city. That's the beef.
That's our beef. That's my beef too.
I think it's everybody's beef.
I wish we were like New York. I wish we were like London. I wish we were like Japan. They have like a wonderful, amazing system there. But maybe one day.
One day.
Our metro's expanding. The D line expanded with the cool shirts. I wish I got one, but I didn't.
Me too.
Maybe we got to make some bootleg ones. They have to have bootleg ones in downtown.
Yes.
But good, that's great. Thank you so much. And if you could just, to your camera there, tell them where they can find you online or watch your stuff.
You can always find me by my name, Jamie Yuccas, JamieyUccas. And it is pronounced you-kiss.
You-kiss.
Yep.
And I keep saying it in Spanish, Yuccas. You're basically
I'll
Latino. You're in LA. But thank you so much.
Thank you
for taking the time to do this. It really means a lot. And
I like that you're trying to do something positive. I think my other beef is that people are always beefing about the problems of LA and not highlighting the really great things.
The good stuff. Yeah. Well, that's what we're trying to highlight.
Well, you did a great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
really
for having
appreciate it. Yay.
Yay.
All right. See you guys later. We'll
Bye.
get Jamie out of here.